the panel.
All rise for jury, please. Please be seated.
All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All right, hopefully everybody had a good weekend. We are ready to get back into the evidence in this case. Before I get started, I gave you some instructions before we broke on Friday. Again, not to speak with anybody, not to let anybody speak with you, and if you were approached, I just want to confirm that nobody had any issues over the weekend, that nobody was approached or felt that they were not able to comply with the court's instructions. All right, well, it's good. Well, again, welcome back. It's good to have you. I understand the state is ready to proceed with its next witness.
It's ready. State calls Investigator Ramos.
Swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Go ahead, have a seat.
Good morning, Investigator. How are you doing today?
Good.
Could you go ahead and state and spell your name for the record?
Yeah. So I'm Sheila Ramos. It's spelled S-H-E-I-L-A. Last name Ramos, R-A-M-O-S.
And Investigator, where do you work?
I work for the Glenn County Police Department.
Could you pull that microphone up towards you a little bit? The seating's a little different than we normally have it. See if that helps.
Okay. There we go.
Go ahead and tell the jurors where you work.
I work for the Glenn County Police Department.
And how long have you been with Glenn County?
Almost 6 years now.
And what is your role within the Glenn County Police Department?
So I'm currently assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division, CID, at the rank of sergeant. I oversee crime scene and evidence.
And have you ever held any other sort of positions within Glenn County Police Department?
Yes.
And what were some of those positions?
Went from patrol to investigator to sergeant.
Have you ever worked for any other agency?
I did.
Okay, what other agencies?
Worked for the St. Mary's Police Department.
And how long were you with St. Mary's?
About 7 years.
7 years. And are you a post-certified officer?
I am.
And throughout the course of your law enforcement career, have you always held your post-certification?
I have.
I'm going to take you back to February 23rd of 2020, okay? What was your position February 23rd of 2020?
Investigator.
And did you have occasion to respond to the Satilla Shores neighborhood regarding the shooting?
I did.
Okay, can you go ahead and tell the jurors a little bit about that?
So I received a phone call by a supervisor on call that stated that there was a death investigation. There was an outside scene with a deceased black male, and the scene needed to be processed. I'm a certified crime scene technician, got certified in 2019, as well as a certified crime scene investigator through International Association of Identification, IAI. So I responded to the scene and was advised that I would be assisted by investigator Chris Lowther.
Okay. All right, I want to talk a little bit about crime scene processing in general, okay? Could you give the jurors a little rundown on what's kind of going through your mind and what you're first doing when you get on the scene as a crime scene investigator?
Okay. So the first thing I do is I document the time that I arrive on scene. So I arrived at 2:15 p.m. that day. The next thing is I look for is weather conditions so that I know what kind of environmental task I'm going to have to deal with, whether it's raining, foggy, or if there's dew. Unfortunately, this day it was about 68 degrees out, and it was clear and sunny. There was no rain. At that point, I make contact with the responsible officer or the supervisor on scene to just get their outlook, because at that point the scene's already secured and has a boundary line or a crime scene tape around. So they advise me what they see, and then from there, what I like to call examine. I go and I see where this evidence is at to see if I need to broaden our boundaries or if we need to make it smaller. At this point, the officers did a great job on setting that boundary where the evidence and crime scene boundaries were. So, and then at that point, it goes to photographs to sketch to then collecting and processing.
Okay. So at the time you arrived on scene, the scene was quote unquote secure, right?
Correct.
Okay. And what was the first thing you did when you got on scene in Satilla Shores?
So that day I spoke with Sergeant Leska, who just advised me that they had set a boundary around the scene and had somebody already starting a crime scene log. And so then at that point, I put on my Tyvek suit and started taking photographs of the area.
Explain to the jurors what a Tyvek suit is.
So a Tyvek suit is like a coverall with booties and a hood. And it's like almost like a really tough plastic. It bends with us so that it prevents any kind of tears, but it helps to eliminate that cross-contamination.
And you said the first thing you did was started to take pictures?
Yes.
Could you tell the jurors a little bit about the process of taking pictures for a crime scene? I'm assuming it's a little different than just normal picture taking, is that right?
Well, yes. So when we take our pictures, we take them in 3 settings. And so we have our, what we call our overall, or like what I like to call the global view. It gets the area, the crime scene as, big as I can get it. And then you have your mid-ranges, which show the evidence in conjunction to what we like to have like a fixed object. And if we're able to have that, then you know the conjunction of that fixed object to the evidence. And then you have your close-ups, which are going to be what we call fill the frame, and we want that evidence to fill all that frame, and then you do it with or without a scale.
Okay. Can you tell the jurors generally what you photographed that day, and then we'll go into some of the specifics after you're done with that.
So what I photographed was, once I got done with my overalls, were the shotgun shells, the body as well as the injuries, and any blood stains that were on the asphalt.
Investigator, I'm going to hand you what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 43 through 104 minus 88, okay? And for the record, these have previously been shown to defense counsel.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first number.
43 through 104 minus 88. And can you tell me if you recognize, permission to approach, Your Honor. Can you tell me if you recognize what 43 through 104 minus 88?
Yes, these are the pictures that I took that day.
Now, those aren't all the pictures you took that day, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, but they're just a select few from that day?
That's correct.
Okay. And are those before court?
I did.
Okay. Are those a true and accurate representation of the photographs you took that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, state moves to tender States Exhibit 43 through 104 into evidence minus Exhibit number 88.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
They're admitted.
Take those back from me. I'm going to put these on this document camera, and if any of the jurors have any trouble seeing, just let me know, okay? States Exhibit 43, what are we looking at here?
So this here is what we call a photo identifier. This is what sets off our separation for pictures. So you'll have your department, the date, the time, the area that the pictures are being taken from, as well as the type of investigation and who the case agent is.
All right, I'm going to put on States Exhibit 44. Could you tell us what you're looking at here?
Yeah. So here is, you're actually facing Holmes Road. Buford Road is off to the side here, and this is the residence that is off of Buford Road. So we're just looking at one layered of Holmes Road.
And Holmes Road is this direction?
That's correct.
And Buford, Burford, that way?
Yeah.
States Exhibit 45.
So this is an overlap again of Holmes Road. This is standing outside on Satilla Drive and taking a picture of Holmes Road and the scene.
And what I'm pointing at here on the document camera.
So this is where the shotgun shells, the wadding cap were collected from, and then of course you have Ahmaud there underneath the sheet.
Do you happen to remember what the address was for this house right here?
Yeah, it's 301 Buford Road.
And is that in Glenn County?
That is.
And what are we looking at right here without pointing to?
That is a white truck.
States Exhibit 46.
So again, this is a overlap of Holmes Road and Satilla, basically getting the street sign from an overview of Satilla Drive and Holmes Road.
States 47.
And so this is looking on, because most street signs are kind of, one diagonal on top of each other. And so getting Holmes Road into the picture as an overall.
So are you, when you're taking different angles, pictures of different angles, do you sort of stand there and try to take as many angles as you can, or what's the process?
Yeah.
States Exhibit 48.
So this here, you're looking at Holmes Road, but getting the Satilla sign. So that way we understand that the intersection of Holmes Road and Satilla Drive is what we're concentrating on.
States 649.
Yeah, and again, it's just this is what we call our mid-range, just more of a close-up of the street sign so that we know the location of the incident.
States 50.
And this is facing Holmes Road again.
Looking at white truck.
White truck, yes.
Do you know who this person is right here?
At the time, I did not. Now that, with the investigation that was concluded, was Greg McMichael.
And who's this person?
That at the time was Captain Tom Jump.
States 51.
Yeah, this is, again, walking into the scene, and so this is our mid-range. So this is Holmes Road coming into the scene.
States 52.
And this is, again, just a mid-range of 301 Buford Road, the residence.
States 53.
This is actually going out towards Buford Road.
So,
That's Buford Road there.
okay. Okay, if you go back this way,
Yeah, Buford Road and Satilla Road merge.
Your Honor, just to interject, just to correct the record, the road is Burford, B-U-R-F-O-R-D, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
States 54.
Yeah, so this is, again, an overlapping of mid-range coming into the scene.
This white truck. States 55.
Again, this is a mid-range of the center of Holmes Road from Satilla.
States 56.
And this is an overlap mid-range of Holmes Road. You have the shotgun that is in the grass, and then the driveway where the blood stains and some of the shotgun shells are at.
Now, this truck is appearing to be backing away. Did that truck leave the scene that day?
Apparently, I did not know anything about the truck that day, so it really was not something I was paying attention to.
States 57.
Yeah. Again, just another overlap of a mid-range coming into the driveway where the shotgun shells and blood are at.
So those sort of give you an overview of when you walked on the scene around you as it rotates across the crime
As we're
scene?
coming in, yep.
All right, States Exhibit 58.
Yeah. So this is the mid-range of the body of Ahmaud. So it shows the conjunction of street lines to where he's at. Okay. This is just a different angle from mid-range photographs.
What's lined in this grass right
So
here?
that's the shotgun.
States 60.
Yep, so this is just, again, another mid-range overlap going into now starting to hit the driveway. So this is just one angle facing 301.
States 61.
Yeah, this is, again, a mid-range of the driveway where the blood and shotgun shells are at.
States 62.
And so this is facing Satilla Drive. So this is an actual overview. So that way, a different perspective from Holmes Road to Satilla Drive.
States 63.
So this is a mid-range of the shotgun shells and the blood stain on the asphalt.
When I'm putting my pencil on right there, what
Yeah,
are we
that's
looking at?
a
right
shotgun shell.
now? And these red spots?
Those are blood.
'64.
So this here is just mid-range of the blood on the asphalt and driveway.
State 65.
So it's the same overlap, the blood in the driveway.
State 66.
This is a mid-range of the shotgun shell that is at the edge of the driveway on the asphalt.
State 67.
Yeah, this is the shotgun shell that's in the driveway and the blood. So this is an overview of the blood to show from the driveway out to Holmes Road.
State 69.
This is the mid-range of what is the wadding shot cap.
And when you say wadding shot cap,
Mm-hmm.
can you tell the jurors a little bit what that is in relation to any of the other evidence?
Yeah. So what this is that your shotgun shell has powder and shots in it. All this does is separate the powder and the shots from mixing. So it's inside of that. So when the gas goes off, that comes out with it sometimes. But all it is to keep it from the shots and the gunpowder from mixing.
State 70.
Yep. This is mid-range of the shotgun shell and the pool of blood.
State 71.
So these are close-ups of Ahmaud before we take the sheet off.
State 73.
This is a mid-range of the shotgun in the grass.
State 74.
And this is your close-up of the shotgun.
State 75.
And this is a mid-range to show just the conjunction between where the shotgun is to Ahmaud.
State 76.
So at this particular point, we stopped to place photo identifiers, and so this picture is showing an overall of those photo identifiers.
Okay. So this picture, you start to place little placards to identify, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what's the purpose of doing that?
So that's just for us whenever we take pictures to keep evidence in line so that way we don't forget anything. So it's just like photo identifiers so that when you're looking at photographs of a single individual and I say placard 1, you would be able to identify placard 1 and what that evidence is in conjunction to it.
Now, when you're putting these placards up and you start with numbering, right, is there a piece of evidence that you choose in particular, or is it random, or does that depend on the case, or how do you decide the numbering system on where to start, with the evidence?
So anybody could be different in it. There's no set procedure on how you mark it. Me, I always start from either one in and work my way, in. So I started down at the end of the driveway by marking my evidence and working my way up to Satilla Drive.
So, state 77. One second. Judge, just give us 1 second on this document count. we're gonna use the electronic version of the case. Started at 77. While we're getting that up, we're gonna kind of do it old school style, just hand them out, okay? If you don't mind, I'm gonna pass the photographs along, or I'll walk it across, whatever you prefer, Judge.
Is this number 77?
This is number 77.
Yeah. Why don't we could just walk it across. We'll handle it that way. So,
It can be published to the defense take.
let's give it a moment, see if, and keep everybody in place for just a moment, if we may have an idea on what we need to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the joy of technology is that it seems really cool and fancy, but sometimes it may be better to just work with paper. Are we, from the state, are we just going to be walking through the photographs for a little bit?
Yeah, Judge.
All right, I want to do that. Cedric, let's do this. We'll do it in a break, and we'll just work through it then. All right, thank you. Yeah, if we're working through the photographs, since they're in and they would go back, you can just go ahead and publish just by showing the panel.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you.
Flashing it this way, just so we know which one we're doing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and make sure it's identified by number. I assume y'all have a copy?
We do.
Okay, identify by number if you, from the state, identify by number, show them just so that we're all on the same page, no pun intended, and then walk it down the jury.
Yes, Your Honor. All right, Investigator Ramos, we're gonna show you 77. You see that, what that is?
Yes, that is placard number 1, that's a shotgun shell.
Okay. So this is what you were talking about when you started numbering, right?
Correct.
Okay. State's Exhibit 78. What are we looking at here?
So that is placard number 2, another shotgun shell.
State's number 79.
Yeah, so that is placard number 3. And this, I believe, is the wadding cap and the blood around it.
States number 80.
Yep, that's gonna be placard 3, it's gonna be the wadding cap.
That's an up-close version of the
That's correct.
previous photograph. We're gonna turn back to the mono board for States Exhibit number 81. What are we looking at here?
Okay, so that there is placard number 4. This here, I could not tell if it was bone and tissue or if it was tissue that was surrounded by a shot. And so that would be placard number 4.
Okay. States 82.
This is just a close-up of that piece of evidence, either the tissue or the tissue surrounded by the shot.
And when you were putting numbers on the shotgun shells and that sort of thing, did that in any way indicate the order of the shots, or was that just strictly for documenting purposes?
No, the placards that get placed down are just nothing for documentation purposes.
States 83.
So this, there we go. This is a placard number 5, which is the 12 gauge shotgun.
Okay. All right, we're going to turn from that to pictures of the body. States Exhibit number 84.
So these are overlapping of Ahmaud's body.
Let me get out of your way. So when you're taking pictures of a body on scene, do you do it the same way you do the scene itself, overall, close-up, medium range, and different angles, that sort of thing?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. States 85.
So this is the, again, overlapping of his mid section.
States 86. Now, when you're documenting pictures of the body as a crime scene investigator, are you looking for anything in particular in terms of wounds, that sort of thing? Or what is your job as a crime scene tech when dealing with the body and taking photographs of the body?
So we're looking for any injuries so that we can, take pictures of them. The body was moved by the time that we got there, just because first aid was provided. So we were not able to get the original, but we take them so that way we can document what we see on scene, and that way when the medical examiners, take a look at it, we can, kind of compare notes, on what we have as far as injuries and that they're consistent.
States 87.
So this is your mid-range, your close-up of Ahmaud's whole body before we start manipulating his shirt and everything.
States 89.
So this is the, let's see, this is the close-up before we start moving anything on him. This is the shotgun wound to the center of the chest.
Now, from your determination or from your investigation, the shirt, it appears to be red. Is this the color of the shirt, or is this from another substance?
No, that would be another substance. It would be his blood.
States 90.
So this is me getting the mid-range of the injury that is underneath his kind of armpit and shoulder. So this, yeah, this right here is what I'm starting to look at. I don't know if you guys can see that or not.
States 91, that might bring us closer in.
Yeah. Yep, so this is the mid-range of the gunshot wound underneath his arm, kind of to his shoulder.
States 93.
So this is of his legs and his shoes, just trying to see if there was any injuries in that area.
States 95.
And this is just getting just the bottom tread of the shoe.
States 97.
So this is what appears to be a gunshot wound to his wrist.
States 98.
So this is the close-up of the wound that, or the gunshot wound that's to the center of his chest.
States 99. Mr. Ramos, do you know what that white object on his chest is?
I do not. I want to say it's probably left there from squad.
Yeah?
99.
So these are the injuries that are going to be photographed with a scale.
And that scale that you use, what are the measurements on that scale?
They're by meters.
By
Yeah.
States 100.
And this is the scale for the gunshot wound that's underneath his armpit and his shoulder.
States 101.
And so these are not in order. This would have been before we would have lifted his shirt up to get that actual full view underneath it. So this is with the shirt still over the wound and the scale.
Now, when you're taking these photographs, are you manipulating the clothes in any way to get to the wounds?
Not until we're done doing what we have to on the outside, and then we'll manipulate it by pulling out so that we can actually get a full view of it.
Okay. Did you make those cuts in the shirt at all?
No.
All right, States 103.
So when Ahmaud was removed by the coroner's office, this is the area that he was, laying at.
And States 104.
So this here, whenever the coroner office takes control of the body, they put them in a black bag, and they will make an identifier marker, which is just a tag that has information on it, and then that red zip ties seals it so that way nobody can tamper with that bag.
Yeah, sure, I'll down. At the time you took that picture, was there any sort of identification on the body?
There was not.
Okay. Is there anything in his pockets or anything like that that could help identify?
There was not.
what happens to all the clothing and that sort of thing once it leaves the scene?
So everything gets put into the bag with him, and it goes to the medical examiner's office, and then they examine everything that's on him, his clothing, to make sure that what our statements and the coroner's statements and their all, come together to corroborate, all the findings and facts.
After you're done taking pictures of the scene, at what point do you start collecting the evidence?
So we don't start collecting until after we get done with the sketch. So we have our photographs that we take, and then we take our sketches, and then we'll go ahead and process and collect.
And did you do a sketch in this case?
I did.
I'm going to show you